Welcome back, everybody, to episode 2 of the Road to 10% Body Fat. Ongoing journey here to get down to 10% body fat. Very self-explanatory. If you checked in for the introduction last week, you would know that I weighed in originally at 117.75 kilos, and I needed to get down roughly probably all the way to 90 kilos. So we're looking at about 27 3/4 of a kilo to get down roughly to where I think, based on the DEXA scan results, which we quickly touched on last week, is 10% roughly. So, like I promised you all, it is 100% transparency, which means you get to see my fatty before photos coming up right now. Ooh, prepare yourself. All right, so I guess we'll just jump straight in. All right, split screen. Look at that thick boy. Whew. All right, that is me week 1 on the Sunday morning, which is the 1st of January. And that is 117 3/4 kilos of beefcake right there. What I was expecting for the first week, I was expecting to drop a couple kilos, primarily in water weight, because I knew I was going to be limiting my carbs, compared at least, not limiting, but compared at least to how I have been eating. So, with every 1 gram of carbohydrates can hold, 3 plus grams of water weight. So with the reduction in glycogen, the reduction in carbohydrate intake, I knew I was going to be getting rid of a bit of extra water weight. So that's not a surprise. And as I suspected, very little visual difference. You can see that I have trimmed up my beard from week 1 to week 2. So this is week 1. That's week 2. I look the same. I still look pretty fat, and no visible difference. But I did take the side as well. Again, week 1, week 2. Maybe my tummy is a little bit less distended in the second week, but it's not much. It's not much. Still pretty chunky, guys. I'm repping a really good shirt tan from all my walking, which I will tell you about momentarily. And the back. Again, not much different from week 1 to week 2. Okay, that is exactly what I was expecting. Visual differences, negligible. Weight difference on the scale, visible. Okay, so let's just turn this off for a second. And what I will do, actually, I'll put it back on split screen shortly. This was my weight over the first week. Now, the first week I'm actually counting as 8 days because it was a Sunday, and then I'm counting the full next week as well. So week 1 was actually an 8-day week, and then from this point forward, these videos come up on Thursdays. It will be the 7 days from Monday through to Sunday. Just easiest to sync in line with most people's sort of working weeks. All right, on to the weigh-ins. I'm going to slide on over here. I'm going to let you watch over here the live weigh-ins, and I will just narrate over the top. Basically, the first 3 days, I lost a significant amount of weight. It was about 1 kilogram each day. I was expecting this, and I am quite sure that a good percentage of that weight was water weight, some bloat water weight, leaving the body. As I mentioned before, reducing carbohydrates, especially from what I was eating before, it's going to retain less water weight. I'm going to start to excrete those fluids out. So I think that while, yes, there was a percentage of that was fat mass being lost, a good chunk of that was water weight. And after about 3 days, the weight starts to even out a little bit. And actually, even though I was at a deficit every day and 0 cheat meals, you can see on some of the days I gained a couple hundred grams up, couple hundred grams down, 100 grams up, couple hundred grams down. That is weight loss. It's very, very rarely linear for long periods of time. Think of it as the weather. Day to day, the weather gets hot and colder and hotter and colder. But as you go into summer, it tends to get hotter in general. And that's what we're seeing here, right? So is that every day it's a little bit different. Sometimes they're up, sometimes it's down, but the general graph is trending down, which is the main goal. And I wasn't going to get frustrated by that as well. Another big thing, it can just be hydration levels. So one day, you might be a little bit dehydrated, weigh in the next morning, oh yeah, great, I'm down 500 grams. But then that day, drink a lot of water, and then the next morning, weigh in 200 grams more, even though you're at deficit and you worked out and you walked. And you'd be like, how did I gain weight? It makes no sense. Well, that's hydration is a huge reason why sometimes the weight might fluctuate on the scale. What we're looking for is how it trends long-term, and we want it to be trending down long-term. Okay, so down 3.4 kilograms in the first 8 days. Very happy with that start. I'm expecting it now. Most of that water weight is gone. It should be a bit more consistent, and we're going to see it hopefully trend down from there. As I go down, let me get the split screen back up. As I go down, we're going to get into my nutrition. Okay, so every day was not exactly the same, all right? But I tried to keep it as consistent as possible. And I'd set myself a few goals. On my MyFitnessPal, I limited myself to not active because we all know, and I've mentioned it several times, or not we all know, but I'm going to tell you now, is that wrist-worn devices that estimate how many calories you burn during the day are incredibly inaccurate, and they very regularly overestimate. And I think there was a study that came out that looked at 6 or 7 wrist-worn devices, and on average, they overestimated your calorie burn by like 50 to 95% or 93% or something. So, they're all telling you that you're doing a great job and you're burning a heap of calories. That doesn't mean that you should go out and eat all those calories back, because you probably won't be in a deficit then, especially if you didn't burn them in the first place. So I set my MyFitnessPal to lightly active, meaning that it wasn't going to give me a bunch of extra calories to eat. I set in my weight, and my first goal being 100 kilos, it told me to eat 2,200 calories a day. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to eat 2,200 calories a day. Is that a deficit? Absolutely. All right. Am I starving? Absolutely not. You can get a heap of food in for 2,200 calories a day, and that will be a separate video where I'm actually going to take you through a full day of eating. I think that's kind of interesting. If you make wise choices, you can actually have hefty quantities of food, be really full on a lower calorie sort of frame or line, I guess. So what I wanted to do was I am prioritizing protein. As you can see in this graph here, yellow, protein. A lot of protein. Protein's important. It is absolutely the most important thing when you're trying to build or retain muscle. So if you're at a calorie deficit and you are having very low protein, the muscle that you do have is really going to struggle. So I made it my goal, and it's a two-parter, was to be capped at ideally around 300 grams of protein per day. Now, if you look at the textbooks, they'll tell you up to 2.2 grams per kilogram of body mass. Athletes, people that are lifting heavy weights, training a lot, can have more than that. The negative side effects usually pretty minimal, right? It's not going to shut down your kidneys or anything like that to be having, in my case, 2.6 grams per kilo of body mass. If I was to have 3 grams, which is my goal for when I get under 100 kilos. So my goal when I get under 100 kilos is to go 3 grams. That's right. 3 grams of protein per kilo of body mass. If I did that now at 115 odd kilos, let's say, you times that by 4, it's taking up a good chunk of my overall calorie allowance, and I don't just want to eat protein shakes. Or just drink protein shakes. So I'm limiting myself to 300 grams. I'm going to try to get as close to that as possible. And then the rest can come from fats and carbohydrates. Now, with fats, you do want to be getting around 60 grams of fat in per day, just so you have good hormone production. I was a little under on this day. And then the rest is going to be going towards carbohydrates. So, and I think with fat, anywhere between 0.6 and 1 gram per kilo of body weight per day is in a healthy range. Carbohydrates, as long as you're using carbs for energy source, and you're not in ketosis, which I'm not, I'm using carbohydrates, your energy comes from carbs. So again, this is kind of low. It's 107, you round it up to 110 grams of carbohydrates per day. It's not a lot of carbs. My energy levels, though, were fine. So if you are trying to keep, 3 grams per kilo of body mass per day in protein, 60 grams of fat, and you're having 80 grams of carbs, 100 grams of carbs, whatever's left over, and you're really tired and have no energy, you're not getting enough carbohydrates in because that's your energy source. So you do need to reduce. And in that case, I would reduce from your protein macros because, as long as you're getting over 2, you're sort of in the sweet spot anyway. But for me, 110 grams of carbs, I'm not doing an excessive amount of exercise. Like, that's fine. I was not tired, lethargic, anything. If that changes, and I do think that over the weeks as I change composition and weight and all that, and my training demands change, I will need to readjust these. So this is not a set and forget what I'm doing for the next 6 months. This is not what this is at all. This is what I did this week, okay? And I will reassess weekly until I nail in what's going to work for me for that next training period, okay? So, like I said, that was my, right there, that was my macros. Now, if we go down to the next slide, I'm going to walk you through my full day of eating. So that day I was, 2,130 was my goal, not 2,200, sorry. So here we go. Let me try to make this a little bigger. There we go. All right. Meal 1, double scoop protein shake. I get to work early. I don't have time to cook myself some fancy eggs or eggs Benny or an egg omelette or scrambled eggs on croissant with crab chopped in. I don't have time for that. Don't have time. So double scoop protein shake, get that protein in early. All right. Meal 2 was when I get home. And this is what I'm talking about, making smart choices here. So if I was to have, I've got a 240 gram steak. That's a big steak. It's a really good sized steak. If I had a 240 gram Scotch fillet steak full of fat, I tell you what, the calories would be a heck of a lot more than 350 calories. It'd be more like 550, 600, right? Significantly more. It's a really high fat content meat. I want the protein. I don't want all the fat along with it because I'm trying to control my overall calories. So I went and bought, it's called eye fillet. You could call it a beef tenderloin, steak filet mignon. It's the long, thin one. It's tender. It's super lean. And all I did was I bought it from the shop in bulk. I cut it up into lots of little pieces. I weighed them all out, separated them. And that was a 240 gram serve. I walk home from the gym. I'll get into my steps in a minute. I walk home, turn on the barbecue, go inside, I get these 2 wraps out. Now, I use these power wraps by the brand Empower. Found those fantastic. If you get a Mission wrap, which is really standard, you see Mission, the brand Mission in the stores, 1 wrap between 207 and 215 calories. 1 wrap from Empower, 65 calories. You could have 3 wraps of these low carbohydrate, low calorie, high protein, got 8 grams of protein in each wrap. You could have 3 of those and still have calories left over compared to 1 Mission wrap. So this is what I'm talking about. Pick wisely. Is it quite as durable and floppy and can you make a really nice wound up burrito in it? No, it's a little bit stiffer and it cracks if you try to get a real tight. So, fold it in half. Deal with it. It's not the end of the world. Is it the best wrap in the world? No. Does it taste good? Yeah. Does it hold the food you want it to hold? Absolutely. Is it low on calories? Yes. So, pick the Empower wrap. I sliced up, the steaks on the barbecue. I pull it off after about, a couple minutes each side. Slice that up nice and thin. I have 2 Empower wraps. I have I have half a cup of lettuce in each one, and I cut my steaks up. 2 big, juicy steak salad wraps is my first main meal of the day. Delicious, and the whole thing less than 500 calories, right? Really handy. Let's go down to the next one. Before I go back to work. Again, this time I still had some Mission wraps, right? But I just used 1 here just to slowly phase them out of my diet. 1 Mission wrap. You can see 210 calories for 1 wrap. Rip-off, guys. Absolute rip-off. And this one, some jalapenos, some cherry tomatoes, some red onion, literally a cup of mushrooms chopped up. I chop up all those veggies, chuck them into the pan, give them a cook. This is a stick-free pan, non-stick pan, so no butter, no fats, no oils, all right? No extra calories there, because if you do put a bit of olive oil in all your cooking, that all adds up significantly, all right? 1 gram of fat, 9 calories. So you have 10 grams, it's 90, 100 calories. It's a lot, all right? 3 eggs scrambled up onto that 1 wrap. Nice big breakfast burrito before I go back to work, okay? Moving on next, I get home from work. Zoom in on this one. Again, get home, turn on the barbecue, chuck on a pack of lemon and herb chicken tenders. Chicken, great alternative to beef. Doesn't have quite as much nutrient density, but it is good in protein, low in fat. So you're going to get your protein in. You're going to get a good amount of volume of food in without all those extra calories coming in as well. So 200 grams of chicken tenders, and I had 150 grams frozen veggies just defrosted with it and in the microwave. Delicious. Peas and corn is my favorite one from Birds Eye. Love that one. Before bed, I had another double scoop protein shake because you got to get that protein in, and I was feeling a bit peckish. Had a cup of cherries, all right? 1 cup of cherries, 140 grams, 90 calories, very low in calories. It's a little sweet. It's like a dessert without pigging out on a pint of ice cream. Save yourself 800 calories, right? On to the extras. I am taking So let me talk about what I'm taking supplement-wise. I'm taking creatine, all right? I'm taking, saying 8 grams, 1.5 level scoops. So that's just, if you actually go into my MyFitnessPal, I'm doing 4 level scoops, 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, which is 8 grams total, all right? So 8 grams of creatine. I'm doing that, 1, for general performance, as I'm starting to train and exercise. Also, I know I'm dropping all this water weight, but I am trying to stay hydrated and I want to get that water retention in too. So creatine helps with that. It's going to help with your endurance, help with your physical performance in and out of the gym. It's one of the only supplements that has significant amount of scientific backed research that proves it works on double-blind studies, placebo studies, where no one knows who's getting what. The people that took creatine actually get better performance related. So the only 2 supplements I'm taking right now, apart from taking vitamin D. I always take vitamin D anyway. Still haven't had the Rona, guys. All right? Rona free. So, what's happening here? There we go. Oh, I switched it. There we go. Oh, well, it's on the other side now. Take my vitamin D. I'm taking protein powder to help with my protein without blowing my calories out. And I'm taking creatine. So that's all the ones that I'm taking there. Oops, let's go back up, down. There we go. All right, so onto my activity levels. You've had an insight into my calories, an insight into what foods exactly I'm eating to get those calories and those macros. You've seen my before and after shots for the first week, and you've seen my weigh-ins every single day. How's that for transparency? All right, moving on, we have my daily step count. One of my non-negotiables is I'm going to do 10,000 steps every day. All right? 10,000 steps is not an arbitrary number. Some people think it is. There is some good research out there that shows that there's a significant decrease in all-cause mortality at around the 10,000 step mark. If you look at people going 2,000 steps, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, right? At 10,000 steps, it is a significant decrease in all-cause mortality, but between 10 and 20,000 steps a day, it is it is negligible differences. So as long as you're getting your 10,000 steps a day, you are probably getting a good amount of general activity. And like I said in the introduction, the whole goal of this is not to absolutely smash myself with cardio, air bike sprints, hill runs, all that stuff that no one wants to do. General activity and diet. So I've showed you the diet part, general activity now. As you can see, the first few days, I was full of beans and I was walking close to 20,000 steps. This is the Monday through Sunday. The day before, the following Sunday, the first, I also did just over 10,000 steps, okay? I live about 1.5 K from work. I walk to work. It takes me 20 minutes. So I walk to work and back. If I do that, I'm guaranteed to get the 10,000 steps. You can see that on, let's see, the Saturday I walked into work. The one time on the Thursday, on the 5th, I also walked into work one time and back. The days where I got closer to 20,000 steps, I walked into work and back twice because we work morning shifts and afternoon shifts. So that's a really good thing for me to know, is that I can either drive in if I have an early start, walk home, walk back, and then drive home at the end of the day. I'm still going to get my 10,000 steps in. Or if I'm feeling good, I don't have a really early start or a really late finish, I can walk in and back twice and get a lot of steps. Okay? But that is one of my non-negotiables, 10,000 steps every day for general activity. People might think, whoa, that's a lot of steps. It's not that many steps. It's not that many steps. That's 1 hour and 20 minutes of walking a day. It's not a huge amount. People go, I don't have 1 hour and 20 minutes to walk every day. You could get up 20 minutes earlier and park your car 20 minutes from work and walk there and back. That's 40 minutes. You know, like you can find time to walk. If you work on the 5th floor, you could walk up the stairs on the 5th floor and back down. Like these are all things that are going to help with general activity. All right. There's always ways. If you work in a job and you really struggle to find out where you can increase your general activity levels, leave a comment. And let's see if we can find some solutions for you. Because everybody, I guarantee you, just about everybody, I wouldn't say everybody, just about everybody can improve their general activity levels by doing some simple changes or some simple planning. Okay, and that's going to be really important because we can definitely burn more calories by increasing general activity than what we can by going out there and flogging yourself on an air bike. And it's far, far more enjoyable. All right. So, is that all my things? Huh. One sec. Yep, that's all the slides I have to show you. So what did we do? We covered weigh-ins, before and afters, my macros, my daily meal plan, my step count, or the last thing would be my gym. For this first week, I was easing back into it. I only did one gym session, and that gym session consisted of walking to the gym, which was my warm-up. I did 3 mobility it was a squat day, so I did 3 mobility exercises for my posterior chain and lower back, because that's some hot spot issues for me. Then I warmed up for squats. I did 3 sets only of squats. I did couple sets of glute ham raise for my hamstrings, and then I cooled down with 2 more mobility exercises, 1 stretch, 1 passive, and 1 dynamic. And that was all I did the entire week. Okay, so first week I was easing back into it. All right, I hope that this has been interesting. I hope that we have a few people following along on this journey. I know a few of my clients have been commenting and enjoying the first one and asking me about it in the gym. So I hope these are the updates that you know. Next week, we're going to continue on with this same plan. I'm going to keep those macros. I'm going to keep that calorie count. I'm going to keep doing 10,000 steps a day. My goal is to get 3 to 4 gym sessions in, so increasing my gym sessions, but making sure that I'm staying active during the day, no lying down on the couch, right? If I'm going to lie down, it's to read a book, not to just sit there in front of the TV for 6 hours, right? Which people get sucked into as well. Anyhow, hope you enjoyed that episode. That is the first episode, the second episode, the first real episode after the introduction, on the road to 10% body fat. If you have anything in here that you would like me specifically to cover, and I have had a few people ask me things which are going to be in next week's video, leave a comment. That's really important. If you're like, hey, how do you react to this or this or this, leave a comment and I will address it in one of my videos. Also, I'm planning on doing a full day of eating video where I actually show you how to make all the foods that I'm making that are calorie smart choices, still get plenty of volume in, where you're not going to sit there really hungry and then wanting to, break your diet and binge. All right. But thank you very much for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, share the video, help the channel grow, and let's get around it, guys. Road to 10% body fat, episode 2. Thank you. Bye.